All right, a very good morning and welcome to our broadcast. Happy to have all of you folks with us this morning. FYI, for your information, it is the 4th day of May, believe it or not. Tomorrow is a holiday. Tomorrow we're off. Arrival day tomorrow, we're going to be celebrating. Yep. It's a day for all of those races in Guyana who came from someplace else, came from someplace else, which is all of us. But good to have you folks on with us this morning. Great to see you joining us from the many places that you wonderful folks always join us from. And we're privileged to have so many of you with us this morning. Ricky, Rose, and Sheena Hazel on with us today. Do let us know if you guys are hearing us loud and clear this morning. Nap, Joe, and Kirk, and Claire, and Ashley, and Linden. Good to see all you fantastic folks on the live with us. You know what we said. We're on the live this morning for another half hour to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, give and take. But good to have you, Lucy, Mandy. Good to have you on with us. Sheena, Bernice. Good to have you on the live this morning, folks. We had a full weekend. And in case you missed it, we were underground yesterday, looking at how that iconic street, Brickdam, has been deteriorating over the years, and biggest budget ever, biggest per capita GDP, a high income country, and all of that. And yet Brickdam, which you have the headquarters of the Ministry of Health, the headquarters of the Ministry of Natural Resources, that bringing in that oil revenue, folks. We have the Ministry of Education, so many other ministries on Brickdam, Ministry of Home Affairs, and Brickdam has been deteriorating. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Pam and Margaret, I took a look at that yesterday with my parliamentary colleague, Psycho Andrews. Yeah, take a look, take a listen. Some of what we covered yesterday. Quick snapshot of our scrutiny oversight of Brickdam as members of parliament. Take a look. Dam, looking at infrastructural works or the absence thereof. Yeah. Now, this is the heart of the city. You shadow this sector, Psycho. You shadow infrastructure, and we're just looking today at how Brickdam, one of our iconic streets in Guyana and one of our strongest streets, at least it used to be, is deteriorating. And what's so sad, we're just on the apron of Ministry of Natural Resources. This is bringing the oil money and soon the gas money into our country, the oil resources. And this is the state just on the apron of the Ministry of Natural Resources. Psycho, here's where we are.
Well, Sherrod, here's the thing. We continue to spend. We continue to spend billions of dollars in infrastructure. But I think that the government's approach to infrastructure is what is flawed. You see, the capacity has already been outstripped because of all of the new projects that has been happening. So rather than improve the capacity and then decide on the quantity of work that you will do to match that capacity, we've not seen that. So for politics, they've rolled out a ton of infrastructure projects only to leave these main arteries unattended, not maintained properly, and this is the result of what we're getting. So there's no capacity to look at the new projects and while maintaining the older ones. So it's a case of just patches that we're going to be seeing.
Patchwork. Now you can see the whole road here is deteriorating.
Yeah.
This may be to several reasons. One of them is a lot of trucks coming through Brickdam. Now, one of the things that jumps out at me, Brickdam, if I'm not mistaken, is a major road, which means this has always been under the purview of the government.
Yes.
6 years in, you're taking streets from City Hall, but what you have, you can't even maintain. And you say that you want to lead City Hall, but what you have purview over in the city.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to throw at you, MP, is that now, look what's happening here. This is a Sunday. And I wish we could show how cars got to be meandering on this road to avoid this.
Yeah.
Cars are passing over this, scraping their bottom out. Imagine tomorrow, Monday, when it's much more busy in the city, the chaos that's going to ensue here. It's not just here, it stretches almost the length of Brickdam.
So then we're looking at the situation tomorrow, possible congestion because of this, what is going on here. So, but go back to the point that you're talking, Sharon, that the government has decided to reclassify 57 streets.
Yes.
And the ones already under their purview, they're unable to maintain. So the city council has never, the local democratic organs, the city council, have never been opposed to the government maintaining streets and drains.
Yeah.
It is just the government's inability to maintain these things is what is causing the problem. So we're at a place where, like I said, we're doing new projects, but we're not maintaining the old ones.
Yeah.
And we're not even doing the new projects very well.
Correct.
At all.
Correct. So as we continue our oversight to what's happening here with Brickdam. I mean, Brickdam is one of the iconic streets in Georgetown. The government often says they have a plan for Georgetown, but
they love Georgetown. They say they love Georgetown. Yeah. But then an iconic street as this is left to deteriorate to this state.
Yeah. Welcome back, folks. That was Brickdam yesterday. Believe it or not, that was beautiful Brickdam. What a well laid out street, as we said there, one of the main arteries in Georgetown. A lot of businesses, a lot of ministries are on Brickdam. I could only imagine there, Naomi and Sabrina, people swerving traffic, and yeah, must be something else out there this morning. Good to have all of you. You'll be careful. You're on Brickdam this morning. Probably listen to us right now. Be careful, be careful, be careful. You know, be cognizant of other road users. Be courteous, right? Who get right of way, who get right of way and all that. Be courteous. Valerie and all the folks writing us this morning. This is the reality of things. You don't make it up. This is the reality of things. Ashley, Yanet, Orwin, yeah, as I said, quite a weekend. Number of things happening. A number of things. How are you folks doing this morning? How are you folks doing? Happy to have all of you. You know, we said we're on the live. We're on the live. Happy to have all of you on with us this morning. Be cognizant, you know, as you use the roadways, whether Brickdam or other streets. I saw just last evening on Heroes Highway, a motorcyclist lost his life. They think it's a hit and run. You know, you could just knock down somebody and drive on. Mandy, Bernice, Joy, Audrey, you could just hit somebody down and keep going. You know, that's nothing to some people. That's nothing to some people. Just like that, you know. Right? Just like that. Who vex, you know, how y'all say it? Who vex? Life goes on, right? But I want to tell you something this morning. You know, we mix in our devotion. I want to tell you something this morning, right? Time and God. Time and God. So be cognizant. Be cognizant. Everything is for time. You know, I think by this time in the government's administration, the tenure, they believe they've always been in power. By this stage, right? We've always been in power. But time and God. God and time. Time and God, God and time. Really happy to have all of you joining us this morning. Super happy to have all of you on with us. You know, very important morning, folks. Very important morning. Ghana has this case before the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. Please and thank you. We are before the ICJ this morning for the oral hearings in this matter. You know the border dispute, right? You know the border dispute. And as we hear before the ICJ this morning, it's not just a light issue. This is not just about, you know, a small correction and demarcation. Might as well I want the whole country in that. Might as well I want the whole country in that. I'm so proud of the folks representing us before the ICJ today. Not an easy task, standing before such a major court and defending your country, but no doubt doing it with patriotism. So Gwendolyn and Sabrina, Claudette, Bernice, we stand in solidarity with the folks arguing our case before the International Court of Justice, the ICJ today. We stand with them. There's nowhere else to stand. You know, and some very, very cogent, powerful arguments before the International Court of Justice this morning. We've been following along, and hope you guys have been as well, right? Gail and Savitri, good to have all of you on the live this morning. Share broadcast if you're now joining us. We got over 400 of you on the live this morning. Smash that emoji button as well. I want to bring to you some of what we heard before the ICJ. As I said, the oral hearings of this case, they began this morning, and a number of things being said, and this is happening in The Hague today. We heard Minister Hugh Todd and others arguing before the ICJ what are at stake here in this matter. And again, we are unified on these issues before the ICJ. And, you know, I heard the Foreign Minister Hugh Todd saying that this is a blight. This whole issue is a blight on our country and our development from the very beginning. From the very beginning. Here is the Foreign Affairs Minister at The Hague before the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, just today making the arguments. Take a look and take a listen.
Notwithstanding these actions, Guyana has suffered and continues to suffer greatly from Venezuela's unlawful claim to threats to the majority of our territory. This has been a blight on our existence as a sovereign state from the very beginning of our existence. It has been a threat to our peace and security, exacerbated in recent years by the ominous growth of Venezuela's military activities, construction of new bases, new airfields, and its deployment of aircraft, heavy weapons, and troops to the border area. Venezuela's intentions are unmistakable, as revealed in the executive decrees and national legislation to which I referred, the acquisition of our territory and its incorporation into Venezuela. Facing a larger and more powerful neighbor's designs on our territory has not only threatened our peace and security, it has held back our development. To be sure, the international community supports Guyana's sovereignty and territorial integrity, including its title to all of the territory east of the international boundary, as defined in the 1899 award and the 1905 agreement. But economic development has been slowed by Venezuela's claims and its threats. Foreign investors in particular have been reluctant to risk their capital in such circumstances, and far too little investment has been the consequence. For Guyana, which acceded to the 1966 Geneva Agreement upon its independence, it has taken 60 years to reach this climatic moment, and to be in a position to obtain a final, definitive, and binding judgment from the world's most highest judicial authority on the validity and permanence of the 1899 Arbitral Award and the boundary that it established. My predecessors scrupulously followed the processes mandated by the 1966 agreement and exhausted all of them, until in January 2018, the Secretary General, acting pursuant to his authority under Article 4.2 of the agreement, decided that the controversy over the validity of the 1899 award should be resolved by this honorable court. Sadly, not all of the Guyanese statesmen and stateswomen who were instrumental in bringing us to this point have survived to bear witness.
And that is just some of what we heard before the International Court of Justice this morning as these oral hearings began, right, concerning the validity of the 1899 Arbitral Award. You know, very, very strong, very, very cogent arguments that looked at the the historical records, for all intents and purposes, and a lot of legal arguments being presented there. And of course, Foreign Minister Utah is part of Ghana's delegation and representative before the ICJ. And I also listened to Foreign Officer Donnet Skeet, I think the name is, also before the ICJ this morning, and making some very, very strong arguments. Erwin Don and Siobhan, good to see you. Mark, on the live this morning. Evril, good to see you as well, and all the other folks who are on with us this morning. And I wish that you guys would share the live this morning so that others get really valid and credible information. But even more than that, I wish that all Guyanese, we were kept apprised on these border matters. I think Venezuela doing too much, right? With their illegal claim of this matter. You know, I heard Delcy Rodriguez, the interim president, acting president of Venezuela, say recently in the Broach Gate that, you know, I've known all my life Venezuela is ours. Essequibo, you know, an illegal claim. An illegal claim. And we need to do even more as a country who has a legal and rightful claim and ownership of Essequibo. And we have the oil resources now and the money coming out of the oil resources. So we are beyond excuse to really do more. Evril, Mark, Siobhan, we are beyond excuse. We just got to do what we got to do. Stop talking and walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk as well. Lydia, Claudette, Orwin, Siobhan, we got to walk the walk. There's no way around it. We got to go through it. We got to go through it. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Lester, Tom, and I see we got Valerie and Claudette is here as well, as I said, and you know, all our favorite folks. And we got to keep pushing forward together on this issue. Please and thank you. Like I said, I did hear Foreign Officer Donald Skeet talking about the importance of Essequibo to Guyana, how central it is. Again, saying this is not just a border dispute. And I really love how Foreign Officer Tom articulated Guyana's case before the ICJ. It is not just a border dispute, but it's the effective destruction of a country if you allow Venezuela this nonsense, this fraudulency. If you allow them, it is the effective destruction of a country. The Foreign Officer said, Donald Skeet, I think is the name of the Foreign Officer. Take a look and a listen to some of what the Foreign Officer told the International Court of Justice as these oral hearings began today in The Hague. Take a look, take a listen.
Venezuela is claiming almost 3/4 of Guyana's sovereign territory, the land in which much of Guyana's population lives, where much of its economic activity takes place, and where its most precious natural, ecological, and cultural treasures are found. For a small developing nation, the loss of nearly 3/4 of its territory would not be a border adjustment. It would be the dismemberment, indeed, the effective destruction of the country. I turn now from the size to the character of the territory Venezuela claims, because its significance to Guyana is not only a matter of size, it is a matter of what the land contains and what it means to our Guyanese people. Guyana's name is aptly derived from an Amerindian word, Guyana, meaning the land of many waters. That is because Guyana possesses a vast hydrographic network consisting of 14 major drainage basins. The Essequibo River is by far the longest, extending some 1,014 kilometers, making it one of the largest rivers in South America. Its major tributaries, the Potaro, the Cuyuni, the Mazaruni, and the Rupununi, all flow through the Essequibo region. These rivers are the arteries of our national life. For the people who live in the Essequibo, they are how communities stay connected and communicate and trade with one another. They are the source of fresh water and the lifeblood of ecosystems that support biodiversity and vital carbon sinks for current and future generations. The natural endowment of the Essequibo region includes more than its rivers. The region is also lined by interconnected mountain ranges, including the Pacaraima Mountains. This is where Guyana's highest mountain, Mount Roraima, forms a tripartite boundary among Guyana, Venezuela, and Brazil. In the very center of the Essequibo region lies the Irocrama rainforest, the green heart of Guyana, one of the last 4 untouched tropical rainforests in the world and a site of global ecological significance.
Yeah, I want to clap the boy. Our team, making the arguments. Sanita, Gwen, making the arguments. Brenda Solomon, good to have you in the live this morning. Making the arguments for our team. There this morning, there's this foreign officer, Donald Skit, I endorse every word of that. Every word of that. Endorse. Joy Phillips, Petal, good to have all of you on the broadcast this morning. We endorse that. Gloria Chester, good to see you there, Gloria, as well. Trust you guys have had a great weekend. And that's before the ICJ this morning, making the arguments, folks. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy, right? We're very, very, very happy with the strong defense of our territorial sovereignty by this team before the ICJ. Right? Xerxes, Mitchell, Pam, and Everell, Kwesi. As I said, great to have all of you on the broadcast this morning as we, explicate, extrapolate on these myriad issues. Great to have all of you. That being said, let's move on, and we're gonna bring you updates periodically during the course of the day on this matter, and as it progresses. We saw the top cop over the weekend saying there's been a reduction in serious crime. A reduction in serious crime. Yeah. That's what we're hearing. What are we feeling out there? So there's been a 10% decline. He got to say what he got to say. He's supposed to be off the job and on retirement. Now, he's on somebody's time. 10% decline in serious crimes. This was the number given. It's a 10% decline. Murders down 18%. Rape down 49%. Right? Break and enter offenses reduced by 15%, according to the top cop. According to the top cop. It's what transpired by Barumbar, over the last few days. Is that serious crime? The Barumbar scandal. How he's become a Spanish man. Yeah. Is that considered a serious crime? I'm asking for myself. I ain't ashamed to say it. Asking for myself. Is that a serious crime? Right. Police says the robbery rate has declined also. 51 illegal firearms removed from circulation. And the top cop, Clifton Hickens, he said that he has attributed this improvement to intelligence-led policing, increased patrols, and the use of surveillance technology, command centers and monitoring systems across the country. That's what he said. Close to $60 billion to be spent this year. So they're hard pressed to show some results, even though you and I might believe there's a little Faye, Siobhan, Sabrina, somebody, tinkling with the numbers, Naomi. Right. Naomi, I see you coming there. We're a little early in the morning, so I don't want to read what you said about the criminal activity at Burumba, Savitri, Mark, Petal. So I understand that the police commissioner, Clifton Hickens, he's hard pressed. He got to show some results and why he should continue to occupy that position there. Paul, Petal, Julie, he gotta do what he gotta do. We gotta keep pressing on to Joy Phillips. Right. Naomi, Margaret says it's a PG show. Margaret says it's a PG show. It's a PG show. But some of what we look at over the weekend, and more than that, another headline we saw coming out of the police commissioner over the last 72 hours is that they're boosting patrols. And what stuck out to a lot of people is they're boosting patrols for Chinese businesses. That's what they said. Pelton, Mandy, Naomi, they're boosting patrols, Chinese businesses. Now, this little other businesses not being robbed too. That's some of the commentary I saw on Facebook. Right? Police said they've increased patrols in areas of high concentration, Chinese-owned businesses. They said there's a rise in armed robberies targeting these establishments, Chinese-owned businesses. And the report suggests that this initiative to provide more protection for Chinese businesses. The crime chief, the commissioner of police, we're told, says that this initiative covers multiple regions and forms part of a targeted crime prevention strategy. Right? And like I said, they're using all of these surveillance systems and intelligence-led systems to monitor activity and respond quickly to incidents. Right? The report noted that there is now real-time camera monitoring, of which the police said that this has already helped to stop a number of robberies. Yeah. I hope it is so. But from an oversight perspective, definitely we're going to continue to interrogate the numbers and the processes as well. We're going to help to do both. But good to have all of you joining us this morning, and the comments plenty enough. Mandy, Everell, great to have all of you on the live this morning. For all of those comments, smash that emoji button for us. Share the broadcast as well, so that others get the valid and credible information as we continue to look at some of these issues. Oh, the Press Association. Over the weekend, International Press Freedom Day, the GPA, Local Ghana Press Association, said that transparency, accountability, this kind of reporting is now a national imperative. Freedom of the press is a national imperative. Listen, we got to do so much more fighting with a stakeholder like Starbucks News out of the business now, out of the new business. That is still surreal for me. Starbucks News closing, vacating their space. That is still surreal for me. And with such great journalism lost to us, oh, we're the poorer for it. We're the poorer for it. And with so many government leaning, entities, you need a balance. You need a balance. That's why we do what we can at this end, right? We do what we can at this end. I saw, is it Gao? There's a piece of reporting I saw earlier today about a labor union, right? FITOG, pledging loyalty, the headline said in the waves, to Irfan Ali, the Federation of Independent Trade Unions of Guyana. This is the Demerara Waves headline. FITOG, the Federation of Independent Trade Unions of Guyana, pledges loyalty to Irfan Ali, not loyalty to the workers. I said that because some media entities are like that. We pledge loyalty to Irfan Ali. But what about the workers, Janet? Leston Kirk. What about the workers that a union is actually empowered to represent? What about I was so surprised, Naomi, when I saw this, right? When I was so surprised. FITOG pledges loyalty to Irfan Ali, not to the workers across Guyana. At least the workers you're represented. Right? This is a dark time I love, to quote our late great national poet Martin Carter. And some news entities, the point I'm making, some news entities like this, the pledge should be to the workers of this country, to the people of this country. So when Irfan go yung go di, Grace says just time. Grace Noel, Grace says just time. Time and God. God and time. John Lester, good to have you on the broadcast this morning. Joan, yeah, that's that headline. The GPA, the Ghana Press Association, says it's a national imperative now. Right? National imperative. And in addition to that, the Ghana Press Association, the GPA, says that there ought to be a stronger implementation of the Access to Information Act. Right? A stronger implementation. This is the 2011 Act. A stronger implementation. I feel that. We talk about Ramson Sr. applying for information. He sent you to Vikram. Vikram saying to Jagru. Jagru say Ramson. And then it's never forthcoming. The short of it, it is never forthcoming. The short of it, please and thank you. The GPA says we want to see a stronger implementation of the Access to Information Act, greater transparency as well in public institutions. The association goes on to stress that journalists must be able to access information freely and to hold authorities accountable and to inform the public. It's only if you got something to hide, you will want this to occur. the Guyana Press Association, the GPA, also called on government and opposition and civil society to support press freedom and to protect journalists from intimidation. The GPA warned that restrictions on information flow could undermine democracy, undermine development in Guyana. We don't want that. Don't come wrong with funny. We don't want that. Right? In addition to that, I saw the Prime Minister run out. Prime Minister Mark Phillips, of course. They gotta at least try to bolster their own credentials in this regard. Right? I think you gotta take this with a pinch of salt. Pinch of salt. So the Prime Minister highlighting the importance of independent journalism in safeguarding democracy and acknowledge the role of reporters in promoting transparency and accountability. You know, well, if you believe that, Honorable Prime Minister, as the GPA is asking, fully implement the Access to Information Act of 2011. Could we agree on that? Could we agree on that? The Prime Minister talked about challenges to misinformation, digital disruption, and economic pressures on media houses. Right? This is the government that ensured Sabak News go out of business. The same Prime Minister, I questioned before the National Assembly about owing Sabak News close to $100 million. And probably still owes Sabak News that money. How can businesses like Sabak News, media companies and organizations like Sabak News be effective? You need money to be effective, folks. You think Sabak News out of business because they tired reporting? You need money. You need money. Now, you will see on social media, we have an ad on social media asking folks to support media organizations like ours, right? Support independent journalism, right? And I saw somebody saying this is low. My God. Let me spend a minute here. I'm sharing the link with you folks, right? Donate. I said unashamedly, donate to our broadcast via this link. When you all utilize, you beautiful folks, YouTube gone with 30%. When you use our secure link, it comes straight to us. No deductions. But I want to say this. I saw PBS in the United States almost went out of business. And then they said they got a major contribution. It takes money for news organizations to move forward. Those who are nice and cozy and dandy with the government, they can stay in business for a long time. Because they can get the thing of flow. If they talk the things the government want to hear, the things going to flow. But independent organizations like credible sources, and because of the strong political nature of our broadcasting, too many businesses ain't gonna want to come on board. You're going to see KFC and so on saying thing because they frighten the government. Eh? I shouldn't use KFC. Don't let me use them as frightening the government. Don't let me. I take that back. I want to name anybody. That's the point I want to make there. So I take that back. Let me say broadly, businesses might be afraid of the government. They might like what you're doing. People say it all the time. Keep it up. We love what you guys are doing. Keep the pressure on them. But they ain't going to put their money. You understand me? We're open to donations. Wide open. But the point I want to make, I see it all the time. Right? I follow a number of international media organizations. Right? CNN is every day asking people to subscribe. The New York Times, you could only read 1 or 2 articles for free because it takes money. It takes money. Oh, this is low. Oh, things tight. It takes money. Right? For all those reasons, how the communication is being disrupted on a daily basis. So I said without shame. As manager of a news entity, credible sources, as a media manager, we need money to keep going. It ain't got nothing to do with whether it belong to the PNC or whoever. You think all of these people who singing the tune to the government, they're doing it for free? You think they're doing it for free? You can't. It takes something to keep the lights on and the doors open. So the PM over the weekend was making the point of the challenges of misinformation, digital disruption, economic pressures on media houses. Yeah, we feel all of them. Right? We feel all of them. That's why we got to do differently. Right? Gil Alcox is share, don't worry. Be happy. Gil, I take your word. I take your word. So that's part of what we're following this morning. And as we wrap up, over the weekend as well, we saw this crash report of the helicopter, the GDF helicopter that crashed over 2 years ago. A leaked report, putting it down to pilot error. Now this Captain Charles, been in the business his whole life, one of the most trained. You're going to get a better pilot than Captain Charles. Now they're saying he wasn't trained to fly this kind of aircraft. And we told him how went to the US to bring the aircraft together. Something went on. Guy needs only 100,000 cash grant. Blind you. Something went on. Right? Something went on. And I dare say, in an up new government, you would see the full facts. Not the real truth, the truth. The truth. Right? More in the matter, Orwin. More in the matter than on the pistol. More in the matter than on the pistol. Just some of the things we're covering this morning. And finally, before I let you go, Maritza Ramcharan, one of our parliamentary staff, collapsed at church over the weekend and died suddenly. Been talking to so many colleagues about her contribution to Parliament and by extension to the nation. And not a person had a bad word to say about her. And that's the person I know. She leaves to mourn 3 children and her extended family. Suddenly, no known medical issue, no known medical problem. A joy and a breath of fresh air to all that knew her. Maritza Ramcharan collapsed at Eccles Assembly, we told over the weekend during worship. And succumbed, transition, died. Well, they were trying to administer medical aid and so on to her. Beautiful soul we've lost. A beautiful, beautiful soul. Our thoughts and prayers to our parliamentary staff who are dedicated and hardworking, under tremendous circumstances. It's very demanding, high pace work that folks like Maritza did effortlessly Thoughts and prayers with all our colleagues, our community, our friends, our family. Thoughts and prayers with them. You know, suddenly, beautiful soul, thoughts and prayers. Shawnette says, life is so fragile, you know, life is so fragile. Thanks to all of you for joining us this morning on our broadcast. Thank you, Wanda and Savage. Thank you guys so much. And Sonia, happy belated birthday, Sonia. You know, happy belated birthday. Yeah, I follow some of y'all up on your pages and say, you know, your profiles. People didn't see me, y'all. How I can know market at Jazz and who are the Jim, Naomi, and you know, who posting a lot of photographs, who celebrating a boy. High fast. Like that's my business. Y'all me and y'all too. It's really good to have you, Avril and Mandy. Y'all have a fantastic week. Again, we're off tomorrow being Arrival Day, celebrating all of you. All of us came from somewhere to Guyana. You know, eons ago. We're recognizing that tomorrow. Good folks. So have a fantastic rest of the day. We're going to see you guys on our next broadcast. Stay safe. Good folks. Stay safe. Mandy, good to see you there. And all the other folks who are joining us this morning. Stay safe. That's our time. Good folks. And that's our broadcast. Stay safe.